Hello, my name is Amy Merkel, and I am a counselor as well as the Transfer Center Director at Santa Rosa Junior College. And today I am presenting the workshop on the Transfer Admission Guarantee for the UC system. So if you are unable to attend one of our live Zoom workshops, you can watch this, and then you can join us for any last hour of that workshop if you have specific questions that you would like answered. We will go into a breakout room with you individually to answer those questions, and I'll show you how to find the dates and times for those workshops later on in this session. So let's go ahead and get started here. So the UC tag workshop is what we are going to be going over. So an overview of the tag process. So what is the transfer admission guarantee? We call the Transfer Admission Guarantee TAG for short, and the TAG program guarantees admission to highly qualified students from the California community colleges. So if a student is not part of the California Community College, they are not eligible to TAG. There are 6 campuses that participate in the TAG program. You'll notice the 3 campuses that are missing are UC Berkeley, UCLA, and UC San Diego. So you can tag to one of the 6 campuses that are listed here, and you are welcome to apply to one of the 3 that do not participate. If you are granted admission to, let's say, UCLA, you can always tell your tag campus, thank you very much, but I'm going to go to UCLA. So you are not tied to the tag campus if you choose to go somewhere else. You tag to one of the 6 schools, and then again, you can apply to any of the other campuses. So if you apply to Davis, you can still apply to Santa Cruz, Santa Barbara, LA, and so forth. So on the Transfer Center website, let me bring that up. This is what it looks like. I'm sure you've been here before, but under the tab of special programs, you can go down to TAG. And then in here, we have all kinds of resources for you. So including our workshop schedule, which is here. And so again, you're doing the first half hour of this workshop through this recorded version. And so if you came to the session from 12:30 to 1:30, that is when we go into breakout rooms and work individually with students. So you are welcome to do that as many times as you need to. The TAG application is due by September 30th, and the UC application is due by November 30th. You still apply to the school that you tag to. Your TAG application is not a general admission application. So you do not pay for the TAG application. It is free. The UC application does cost money unless you receive a fee waiver. So think of it in that way. You still have to apply. The reason why they still have you apply is if you are not TAG eligible, then you go through the general admissions process, and you can't do that if you didn't submit a general UC application for that specific campus. If you are doing your tag to UC Davis, we as counselors review that tag. It's part of what UC Davis does as part of their process. They're the only school that does that. But myself and 2 other SRJC counselors go through the UC Davis tags, and we do almost like a pre-evaluation for Davis. We tell them which courses are transferable and so forth. So if you are tagging to Davis and you have attended another college and your transcripts have not been turned into admissions and records, please send me an email and I will then attach them to your tag application. But we want to review those as part of our review for Davis. So only if they're not on file with admissions and records would you need to email me. You want to check your email frequently and respond promptly to requests from the SRJC tag reviewer. So what happens is, we start reviewing and we'll send you a message for clarification or tell you to change things, and we can't submit it until you've done that. And so we want to get those through as soon as possible and not be waiting until the last minute. The deadline for us to finish our review is October the 15th. So remember, you may not submit until September 30th. So you may hear from us on October 12th. And sometimes students get very nervous and they said, but it was due on the 30th. Well, you have to give us time to do the review. So our deadline is October 15th for our tag reviews for UC Davis. So don't freak out if you hear from us in mid-October saying that we need something from you. Davis and Merced inform you in November if your tag has been approved, and the other campuses utilize the regular admissions process but view your application as a tag application. So they still take that into consideration even though it's not happening until the spring. So these are the requirements of the tag. You must have completed at least 30 semester UC transferable units by the end of summer. So by this last summer, summer of 2021, you have to have 30 UC transferable units. That can include AP or IB credit. So if you attended or if you took an AP or IB test and you have those credits, we will count those, okay? You also have to meet the definition of a California community college student. So that means you have completed at least 30 semester UC transferable units prior to transfer at one or more California community colleges. So if you attended, let's say, a California private college for your first year, and this is your first semester at SRJC, between fall of 21 and spring of 22, you have to have 30 UC transferable units done at SRJC to be tag eligible. So not at the time that you submit your tag, but by the end of spring. Your last college attended in a regular session, fall or spring, before admission to a UC campus has to be a California community college. So if you we're going to just attend SRJC in the fall and go and do, concurrent enrollment at Sonoma State in the spring. That doesn't work if you're not, enrolled at SRJC. So something to think about. You need to meet the GPA and other requirements for your campus, and I'll show you how to find that. And if your major is selective, then there may be some extra criteria that needs to be done as well. If you took an AP English test, let me correct myself. If you took 2 AP English tests and passed them both, only one of them can count for admissions. So you have to have what's called 2 UC Englishes for admissions, and the AP tests, only one of those can count towards that requirement. So you have to have taken a class at SRJC to meet that second semester of English. So if that's you, talk with one of us or send a quick question to our chat, which is Monday through Thursday between 1 and 2. You can find the button right on the Transfer Center website. All right, so continuing on with the requirements of tagging, the following students are not eligible for a tag. Students who have previously enrolled at a UC campus during a regular term cannot submit a tag application to return to that campus. So you can tag to another campus, but you are a readmit student to your original campus. So that's a different process. If you are concurrently enrolled in high school, you are not eligible for a tag. And students who've already earned a bachelor's degree, a graduate degree, or a professional degree also are not eligible to do the tag. Again, you're going to submit your UC application by November 30th. And the tag matrix is really, really helpful. And I highly recommend that you spend some time reviewing that. And that is back on the Transfer Center website. So if you go back into the tag screen, here is the UC tag matrix. And so this is just really helpful because it lays things out really nicely. So if you are tagging to Davis, it's telling you some specific information. The contact information is really helpful to have. So here's their website as well as a phone number, and you can see that for each of the campuses. Then it's giving some specific questions. Can students with non-California Community College coursework file a tag? And yes, they're giving an answer to that. What's the minimum UC transferable units? 30. Minimum UC transferable units required to fulfill the tag, 60. Minimum GPA. So this is an important piece, okay? So for Davis, you need a 3.2 for all of the colleges except for the College of Engineering, you need a 3.5. Important to point out that computer science is no longer available for tag. So that's Davis. For Santa Barbara and Santa Cruz, you need your GPA by the end of fall. So a 3.4 for Santa Barbara, a 3.0 for Santa Cruz. So if you're at a 2.9 and you're doing really well in your fall classes and you can reach that 3.0 by the end of fall, you can still do that tag to Santa Cruz. The other important piece of this is when those 2 English classes and math have to be completed. So for UC Davis, it's by the end of fall for both UC English classes and the end of fall for math. For Irvine, it's by the end of summer for the first UCE class and the end of spring for the second. So that sometimes can make a student not eligible for tag for the campus that they want because they haven't completed the English or the math by the deadline that the school requires. So pay attention to that. That's an important one, okay? So the matrix, again, is on our tag page right here. All right, so coming back to the PowerPoint. Let's see. Okay, so we covered all of that. So the GPA calculation, I don't know if you can see me here with the graphic. All right, so the tag application will compute a GPA based on UC transferable courses completed at a California community college. If you have coursework from, let's say, the University of Reno at Nevada, then it does not get calculated in. So you have to do that yourself, and you may notice like, oh gosh, it's saying I don't have the right GPA, and it's because it's not calculating in those non-California community college units. Okay, so if you need help with GPA calculation, again, reach out to us. That live chat is a great button for that. All right, so resources on the Transfer Center website. Again, we've talked about the tag matrix. Each of the schools has a tip sheet, and then we have information for specific major requirements as well. So let me bring one of those campuses up and show you how that works. So down here, here's the 6 campuses. So you can click on the campus. We'll go into Santa Cruz. Here's the tip sheet. So it's giving you some general information for fall of 22 tags, okay? Then here's the link to the UC Santa Cruz tag website. And then here's all their selective majors. Santa Cruz has quite a few, okay? So let's go ahead and choose one of them here. Let's go into just biology. So what we do every summer is we go through all this information and try to make it as easy as possible for you. So these are the Santa Cruz courses on the left, and on the right are the equivalents at SRJC. So for a biology BA degree, you need Bio 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, and the 2 chemistries with the lab. So Chem 3A and 3AL and Chem 3B. If you took that as 1A, 1B, it's the same thing. And so that's what needs to be done for the biology BA by the end of spring 2022. You don't have to have the classes done at the time you tag. You have to have them done by the time you're going into UC Santa Cruz. So you can see each one is broken down by the different majors within the biology program. And then there may be some additional coursework not required for a tag, but it's recommended. So you may want to go into this site to look at that. Okay. All right. So those are really helpful. All right, so the tag application is done through the Transfer Admission Planner. So hopefully you already have a TAP account. You've been filling that in as you've been at SRJC, but if you don't, it's a very easy program to work through. So this is what the TAP account looks like. I've already signed in, so you can see I'm in Tamara's account here. So the first part is just about you, your personal information, demographic, what support programs have you participated in. So if you meet with Jenna from UC Berkeley, then you are part of the TAP program most likely. If you meet with our rep, either Carrie in the past or now it's Fabian from UC Davis, then you've been involved in the TOP program. If at SRJC you have been in MESA or EOPS or CalWorks, you can mark that as well, okay? So going down here, then my academic history is schools attended. So I went to Montgomery High School, then I went to SRJC, and then here it's asking me, use the space below to describe your activities during the terms you were not attending college. So I made a quick note in spring of 2020, I withdrew from my classes without W's due to COVID-19. This does not need to be a 5-paragraph explanation. One single sentence is fine. What they're wanting to know is if there is any gaps in your education and what you were doing. So they are letting you know they see a gap and they want to make sure you are not enrolled in another college and you're not reporting those grades. So you are reporting all colleges you've ever attended and all grades you have ever earned, no matter what they were. Okay, that's really important. The next section is your coursework. So you are going to go in term by term, follow your unofficial transcript, go to view grades in your student portal and just enter it exactly as it shows. So this student took KFIT 1.1 and she earned a W. Then a box came up. Please explain the gap in your education between fall of 17 and fall of 18. I was still in high school. That's all I had to say, okay? Then the student took Spanish 1 and earned a D. You do put the D grade in here if you repeated the class. Student took it the next semester and earned a B. When I entered this, it asked me, was this a repeat from fall of 18? And I said yes. So now only this grade and these units are being calculated into the GPA. I then came in summer of 2019 and I took Counseling 270. Not a UC transferable course, but I'm still including it, okay? In fall of 19, I took Art 1.1 and I got a W. I then took Astronomy 3 and I did Academic Renewal. So if you have a D or F grade that you have petitioned to be removed from the calculation of your GPA, that means you have Academic Renewal. When you look at your view grades, on the far right-hand side, it'll have a code of 40 if academic renewal was applied, and the units go into brackets, okay? So these 3 units are not being calculated into the GPA because of academic renewal, and the UCs take that into consideration, and they don't count them either, okay? Again, they wanted to know about my gap. Here's my summer 20 classes, my fall classes for 2020, spring 21, summer, and then here's fall. You can see my grades are listed as IP for in progress, and for spring of 2022, they are planned. So I'm just going to go in here and add a course to show you how things work. I'm in spring of 2022, and I am considering taking, let's see, I want to take College Skills 371, and I'm going to do a search. So it tells me that it was not found and to add it manually. So I would go here, the subject would be College Skills, the course number is 371, and the title of the class is Basic Math, okay? And then that class I would put in progress, nope, it's planned for spring. Or if you were doing this on a semester you've already completed the class, you would enter your grade. So at SRJC, we have A through F, we have W, and we have EW. And then we have incomplete, pass, no pass, academic renewal. Okay. And so that's the way the classes work. So I'll just mark planned and then I click add. Oh, I forgot to add the units. I have no idea how many units that class is, but let's just say 3. And then I add it and then it goes into here. That simple. Okay. The UC really makes it very user friendly. So you shouldn't have much issues doing this part. This is calculating my GPA, okay? So it's telling me I have a 3.68. If I went and looked at my view grades at SRJC in the portal, down at the very bottom, it calculates out my UC GPA, and I would want to verify that that is the same. Now, a couple things to take into consideration. This student has 3 units of PE credits in that semester, and I think that is it. That is it. So the UC will apply 4 units of activity courses towards your 60. So if this student had 5 units, one of them would be removed, and you have to make sure that you still meet that 30 UC unit count by the end of summer. So I can't tell you, every year we have a handful of students that are at 29 units. So you want to pay close attention to that. Okay. Okay, so that is, oh, then in here, it's showing, here's my 2 English classes, English 1A and 5. Here's my transferable level math. And then my the rest of the classes that fit into the GE categories, okay? And then going back up to the top, it's going to ask me if I have any exams. I had English language and comp, and I got a score of 2. So students often ask, do I have to put that in? UC does like to see it. So they like to see, okay, the student was at a higher level even in high school. Even if you didn't get a passing score, that's okay. I also took psych and I earned a score of 3. Okay, so that is being calculated in as well. And that's it for there. Then going into my transfer plan, where and when I plan to transfer, I'm looking at fall of 2022. I've marked each of the campuses that I'm considering, okay, and the programs that I'm participating in. So those are all in there. And then apply for tag goes here. So I'm coming from Santa Rosa, fall of 2022. Davis is my campus. Soch is my major. It has things here. This is what is in the SRJC page for Davis. So that's all in there, but you should read through this to make sure you meet all the criteria. And then I am going to go ahead and click on Start Tag Submission because I want to show you something. So in here, any additional comments? So I put in a comment that I will be attending college part-time in spring. This should be 2022. Because I've completed all requirements and plan to work to save money for college expenses. The reason why I put that in there is UC Davis prefers that students have been full-time from spring of 21 through spring of 22. And so if you're not full-time, they want to know why. It doesn't mean that your tag will get denied, but they want to know why you're only going to be part-time, okay? If I kept going, it would take me on to submit the tag, and I don't want to do that. So the TAP account is fairly easy to use. And again, if you have any questions, you can join us in one of our workshops, okay? We can answer those questions for you. So I want to talk briefly about application support. And when I say this, I mean general application support. So you want to join the Canvas Resource Library. And so that is on the Transfer Center's website here. You go into Canvas, into the Canvas button, and you sign up. And that Canvas button here is this. And what we have in our modules is all kinds of information. So information on the tag, the CSU app, the UC app, the Common App, and next steps. And so we have videos in here, we have screenshots, we have suggestions, we have, where we see students getting tripped up, information on those specific areas, on how to fill those certain things out. Okay, so join our Canvas resource library. Start working on your personal insight questions now. Okay, so you can attend or watch our PIQ brainstorming session, which is a workshop that we offer. And that is going to be on, I believe, October the 20th. Let's take a look here. I don't have it on this page yet, but on our calendar, if we scoot over to October, yes, here it is, October 20th at 5:30. It's through Zoom, and Robin will be going over some tips on the UC Personal Insight questions. If you click on this apply button, you can find information on the PIQs here. What are the questions? So there's 4 questions that you have to answer. 1 is mandatory. Then there's 7 additional questions. You choose 3 to answer for a total of 4. And you get 350 words for each one. And then we have a link for some tips, and then how to get help from us, because we will review those with you, but you have to sign up. Okay. And then have your applications reviewed by the Transfer Center before you submit them. So to have those reviewed, you could click back on our calendar. We will start the reviews in the month of October. And so you click on this and review our resources, our Canvas page, and then here's the form to sign up. You give us your username and password. We go in and check the application, and we will send you an email of what needs to be fixed before you submit it. We do not make changes to your application. We just look it over, okay? So be sure that you utilize all that support that we offer through the Transfer Center. And again, don't hesitate to come to one of those tag workshops to have your specific questions answered if you have any. And good luck through this process.